There are times when we are going to need to figure out how to get a perfect square trinomial just by deciding what the constant needs to be. That is, there will be times when we need to figure out, given a trinomial that looks like x squared plus bx plus blank, we will need to figure out what constant goes in the blank to make this trinomial a perfect square. And the good news is, there's always a fairly straightforward way to figure out what the constant ought to be, and then exactly what this trinomial is the square of. Right, remember what we mean by saying that this trinomial is a perfect square? We want this trinomial to be x plus some number, all squared. All right, so how are we going to do this? Let me show you an example first where we know what number this is, and then we'll talk about it in a little bit more generality. Let's suppose we want to fill in the blanks in x squared plus 6x plus blank equals x plus something squared. Well, let's think about this x squared plus 6x. And we're going to think about it specifically in terms of area. X squared, that is a square with one side x long and the other side also x long. 6x is a rectangle with one side x long and the other side 6 long. We would like to somehow take this apart to get a square. And by square here, I actually mean a square, like in geometry. So my x squared stays put here, but in order to go from having one side that is 6 longer than the other to having both sides the same length, I'm going to take my 6x and cut it in half. So I'll have 3x down here, 3x over here. That must mean these sides are each x long. And hey, we know how long this side must be. This little rectangle is x by 3. Similarly here, x by 3. This little square, what do we need to complete the big square? What's missing is 3 times 3 is 9. So, to make x squared plus 6x plus something a perfect square, the something has to be the 9 that's in the missing corner. And what binomial squared is that? That's x plus 3 squared. So how do we do this? Right, what did we need to do? We needed to split the middle term in half. So instead of making some complicated sorts of moves to split up the middle term, in order to get the last term to work out to what we already knew it was, like we did when we were factoring, we just split the middle term clean in half. Let's see another example. Let's say we want to complete the square here. Decide what goes in this blank and what goes in this blank. Well, we'll have our x squared part, of course, and then we'll split the middle term in half. In half. What's negative 5 divided by 2? It's negative 5 halves. Notice, we might get fractions. And that is okay. So this box is x by x. This box is x by negative 5 halves. This box is also x by negative 5 halves. Notice these two numbers had better be the same. If they're not, we did something wrong. But now we multiply them together. Negative 5 halves times negative 5 halves is positive 25 fourths. So this is positive 25 fourths, and this is negative 5 halves. We'll often write that binomial as x minus 5 halves squared. One thing to notice, because we're multiplying two of the same number together, the constant will always be added. Now, if we absolutely adore memorizing formulas, we could do this once, leaving the coefficient variable, writing x squared plus bx plus blank equals x plus something squared. Well, we'll have our x squared, of course, b over 2x in each block. So this square is x by x. This block is x by b over 2. This one is also x by b over 2. And then b over 2 times b over 2 is b squared over 4. So our constant will always be b squared over 4. And my square will always be x plus b over 2 squared. Notice this will include the sign of b. If you absolutely adore memorizing formulas, you can memorize these two formulas. Otherwise, just solve these by splitting the middle term in half. I'm going to give you one of these to try now. Fill in the blanks to complete the square here. X squared minus 2x plus blank equals x plus blank, all squared. Pause the video and try this now. Alright, so we'll have an x squared. We'll split up the negative 2x as negative 1x and another negative 1x. So this square is x by x. This block is x by negative 1. This one is also x by negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. So the constant we need is positive 1. And the binomial we're squaring is x minus 1, or x plus negative 1.